Okay, so good evening, everyone. Hello, guys. Hi, Vishnu. Hi, Pandu. Okay, so today we will continue with our Node.js. Okay, so yesterday we covered the fundamentals of Node.js. So what we will do today is we will have first we'll do a small recap of what we covered yesterday, and then we'll continue with the new topics which we will cover today. Okay. Please, good evening. I'm good. How are you? Okay. So yesterday we discussed that how we can like what is Node.js and everything. Okay. So if I just let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. So today we'll do a small recap of fundamentals of Node.js, and then we will uh, continue with the new topic which we are supposed to do today. Okay. So initially yesterday we have discussed what is Node.js. Okay, so we know that Node.js is an environment built on JavaScript. Okay, so it's developed by Chrome's V8 engine. So it was initially developed by Google, which we discussed yesterday. So the problem it serves is that earlier we used to write the backend in different language and front end on different language. So using this Node.js, we can code on the server level in JavaScript only. So we don't have to learn two languages in order to create an application. We can just do that with the JavaScript only by running JavaScript in the backend and JavaScript on the front end. You can even use this in Angular, React, Vue.js, etc. Okay, so this was the basic introduction to Node.js. Okay, so again, Node.js is an open source server environment that runs on various platforms using the JavaScript. Okay, mainly the it's used with the server side scripting. Okay, so the reason Node.js has it's taken so much popularity recently is because we can create applications which are very scalable and with high performance using the inbuilt modules and external modules which Node.js provide. Okay, so what are these modules we will cover in today's class, but this is an overview of what why we use Node.js. Okay, so in order to install the Node.js, just a second. Let me open the browser. In order to install the Node.js as per your operating system, uh, yeah, sorry, we need to install the Node.js first in our systems. So to do that, we need to install the Node.js on the system using the nodejs.org, and you can click the version of Node.js which you want to download. So it the process varies from operating system to operating system. It can vary, like it's different for Mac, it's different for Windows. You can see the detailed description of how to do that on this website. Okay, you can either download Node.js, or you can even go on download and download as per your operating system and the version. Okay, you can even download with Brew, FNP, Docker, etc. It's up to you, or you can directly download it the way you were doing it before. Okay, now if you when you are installing the version of Node, you can see different versions over here. So see, you can see the 20, see there are multiple versions, which is 22.5.1, 20.16.0, and many more. And there's something that is current LTS. So you must think that we should only download the latest one. सबसे ऊपर वाला version ही अच्छा होगा. But it's not true. Usually we go with LTS version. LTS is LTS is a version which give us the long term support. Okay, that means we can develop our application on a more stable version. Other versions are also fine, but they might or might not be very that stable. Okay, I'll just share the link with you, and you can on download it yourself on your operating system. Okay, once you have successfully installed it, yeah, Rush, it's long term support. Okay, so once you have installed it, in order to check whether you have successfully installed it or not, you can open the terminal if you're using the Mac, or the command prompt or PowerShell if you're using the Windows. Okay, so if I open the terminal, let's click on new window. See, wait, I'll do the item. Okay, so I have opened the terminal in one like this. And to check if the node version is successfully installed or not, you just write node hyphen v. With this command, you will find out that yeah, if you can see a version over here, that means the node has been successfully installed. If not, something went wrong. So in order to initiate the installation, you can again try and again reinstall it, or you can even refer the YouTube to download it. Okay, any questions till this point? Great. So continuing further, yeah, so now you have downloaded the Node.js. Okay, now let's use it. So just in order to use it, you can write node and space press enter. I'll just increase the screen size. Okay, and on this I can write any JavaScript code, which is, let's say I want to write I can even write 9 plus 9, which is 18. Okay, I can write console.log, which is a print statement in JavaScript. Let's say write hello world. Okay, so I'm getting the hello world over here. So this is how you can run the Node.js, but it's not very tedious to write the Node.js. The whole, like, okay, whenever you're creating an application, you are usually creating thousands of lines of code, and it's very impractical to write that big code in a terminal, right? Hence we use the files. Okay, so in order to execute the JavaScript file over here, what we do first, let's go to a directory, and then let's say cd. Okay, I'll do this. Okay, so first let's create the file. uh let's say I'll call it index.js. So I'll say you can either create a file manually, or you can write touch index.js to create the file. If I do again ls, see, I'm getting this file. Okay, now let's open this file. Okay, now let's say if I again want to execute of code, I'll say console.log hello world. And if I execute this file, in order to execute this file, I'll simply write node index.js. Okay, and I'll say, see, hello world has been executed properly. Now I have basically uh, WebSockets will not be covered in this, but you can enroll for the course if you want to go with the WebSockets. Okay, now continuing further, so this is how you execute the JavaScript code in using the index.js file. Okay, now right now we, as we have discussed earlier that yeah, as we have discussed earlier that when we are running the JavaScript, when we are talking about Node.js, we are usually executing the server side code. Okay, so now our next task is to start the server with this Node.js. Okay, now let's do the same. Okay, so before we do that, first, uh, okay, so now in order to do that, we have multiple modules in the Node.js, which is which sorry, there are multiple embed modules. So in order to use these modules, what we do, we say require with the name, with the module name. Okay, now there's this HTTP module in the Node.js which help us to create the server. Okay, so in order to create a server, I'll say HTTP module. So basically I have imported this module by writing require HTTP, but I might need to use this module in near future. So in order to do that, what we do, we'll say I'll assign this module reference to a variable, which is, I'll call this variable as HTTP. Okay, okay, now we have imported this module. Now in order to create the server, we use http dot create server function to start the function, to start the server. Okay, now maybe I want to check if the http module, oh sorry, maybe I want to know whether my server is properly running or not. What I'll do, I'll say I'll assign this to a variable on server equals to this, and then I'll just say I listen on the server. So now I need to mention, specify the port. So let's say I'm running this on port 4000, and the second parameter of this function takes the callback function. So I'll simply say console log server running on port 4000. Okay, now let's check it out. So if I go back and say node index.js, see, I'm getting server is running on port 4000. That means my server has been started. Okay, now now what is the use of this server if I don't know what requests and responses we are getting over here? Okay, so to do that, it takes another parameter in this create server, which is request comma response. What are requests and responses? What are request and responses? Request is whenever I am asking for some data from the server, and response is like the reply it has sent me. So let's say if I am talking about, again, let's, if you are talking about Facebook, if I want to look XYZ person's photo, I'll request that photo from Facebook, and of that photo I'll get the reply. Okay, that reply is called the response. So I can say that response dot end hello world. For example, I'll explain what has happened here. Okay, and if I again write this, and now this time I run, since I have started the port code on localhost on 4000, I'll say localhost 4000. Okay, localhost is the computer through which we are making the request. Okay, and I'll just click on localhost 4000, and hence I'm getting hello world. That means for port 4000, I'm getting the hello world. I'm sending the response as hello world, and I'm getting the reply hello world over here. Okay, so this is the basic level server, but yeah, this is the server which you have just created. Okay, now what is this response.end? Basically, this function help us to get the response of the code. Basically, if I want to send a response, I use this end function to send the response. Okay, Any questions, any doubts till this point? Perfect. Okay. Now, so this is how we created, how we have created the response. So there are many other things, like you can even get the status code, like I can even set the status code. I can say status code as let's say 200. What are the status codes? Basically, if I give a rough idea, so with the status code I can identify if the response which I'm getting from the server is a proper response or is an error or something else. So maybe let's say if I'm asking I'm asking for a photo from Facebook server, but for some reason Facebook is not sending me that photo. Okay, let's say Facebook is sending me that this photo is not found. So how do I identify that whether the response which I received is a response or is some kind of error or something else? So with that can be identified using the status code. We will cover this in the future. Like this is something different which I'm talking about. Okay, but overall this is how you create a basic level server. Okay. What is different module.exports and exports? We'll cover that today. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So this is what we covered yesterday. Okay. So if I come back to this, we have okay. Now what happened is let's say now I have created this code. Okay. Now I want to share this code with someone else. Okay. So how do I do that? One way of doing that is I send this JS file to someone and he or she just uses it by themselves. But the problem is uh, they usually they are hundreds and thousands of lines of hundred and thousands files of code in in a project. So it's very difficult for me to send this code to someone. Moreover, there's another problem that sorry, yeah, there's another problem that uh, there's a possibility that someone is using external libraries. Okay, what do I mean by external libraries? So let's say I want the functionality in my code to convert the Excel file to a CSV file, or maybe convert JPEG photo to a PNG photo. Okay, so the problem is I don't want to write the whole code by myself. Okay, there are hundreds and thousands of users who have already created that code. Now it's a wise thing to do that I use that existing code and use it in my own project instead of developing from the scratch. Okay, so basically we don't want to reinvent the wheel. That's the thing. So in order to achieve that, we create the modules in our project. Okay, so what are modules? I'll come on that, but this is a basic idea. So we'll cover the modules part today, but this is what where we are coming to. Okay, so how do we create the module? Okay, so module, if I tell you in simple terms what is a module, modules are like the piece of code which solves a particular use case. What do I mean by that? Um Basically, let's say if I want to uh, okay, let's come back to our previous example. If we have a JPEG file and if I want to convert the if I'm writing a code to convert JPEG file to a PNG file, then my I have written, let's say, 100 lines of code in that to achieve the functionality. So that piece of code is solving a particular use case. That means it's a particular module. Okay, I can use it independently if I need to. Hence, we create the module. I'll explain further. Okay, just a second. So, how do we create the module? So, in order to create a module, we have to initialize our project. In order to initialize a project, what we do, we say npm init. Okay, now we have to mention the package name. So I'll just say day one for let's say. Okay, package name refers to the what our code is currently solving. Okay, version. If you want to change the version, you can write the version number, or you can just press enter to skip it. Again, you can skip everything. And by doing this, what has happened? It has created a package.json file. So what is the use of this package.json file? What is the use? Yeah, we can use VS Code terminal instead of command prompt. So see, even if I use the VS Code terminal, it takes the same command prompt. Okay, so the instance is same. It's just that it's a simpler way to do it. But since I have a limited screen size and I'm explaining something, that's why I'm not using this. I'm using a separate terminal to explain it. Okay. You can define the metadata. Yeah, it can define the metadata. Okay, so what is the use of this package.json file? We can basically write our scripts in it. Okay, so there's a universal script called start. What do I mean by this? I'll just explain. That means if I write start index node index.js, uh, what it will do is it will, whenever I write npm start, it will come to package.json file and will execute this code. Okay, if I write, let's say, instead of this, if I write something else, okay, so it will output that thing only. So so what is the use of this? So let's say if I am creating, let's say there are 10 files now. Okay, and um, if let's say if I have created 10 files and I share the project with you, you don't know what is the entry point of the project, which is the first file which you have to go for to run the code. So it's very difficult for you to understand that. So in order to avoid that, we have created the script. So I can simply write npm start and it will know which is the entry point of the application. Hence we can execute the code like this. So this is the use of having the package.json file. If I click on npm start, see, it's the same file. You can see that it's running the node index.js code only. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it can also have the dependencies. I just gave the recap of yesterday's class. You can rewind the session and you can just go through it again if you want. MongoDB, I'm working on Monster project. I'm not getting clear with MongoDB Atlas. We will cover that in future, but today first let's cover the basics. First, let's know what the Node.js is. After that, we will cover the MongoDB. Okay. Okay. So with this, we have created the package.json code. Basically, we have created a basic package. Thank you. Okay. Now, so now I have explained that we can use external like other packages when we are coding. Like as I gave an example. But how do we do that? So in order to get the packages, we can go to npmjs.com. Okay, I'll just go on this. I'll share the link with you. Just a second. Using npm start will show an error. Just check whether you properly ran the start script in package.json. Okay. Okay. So once you have installed the npm package, okay, now what you will do is, yeah, you just look for the package. Let's say if I want to use the again JPEG PNG. Just think it like an app store. The way you have app store or play store in your phone, it's the same thing. Yeah, you can even use npm run start. So it's a if you want to write npm start, it's a short form of npm run start. It's the same thing. Let's say if you want to write another script, let's say abcd, okay, and write node index.js, you can simply write node run abcd. It will execute that code. Okay. Anyway, so coming back to this, yeah. So you can use it's like a Play Store or App Store. We'll talk about dependencies. Yes. Okay. It's not a very difficult thing. We'll talk about that. Yeah, this error is coming because your project is already you are already occupying the 4000 port number. Try changing the port number to something else, with 4001, 4002, or something else. It should run Pandu. Okay, so whenever you go on App Store or Play Store, what you do, you basically search for whatever you want to do. Let's say if I want to convert JPEG to PNG or something else, we just do that and we get the list of applications. Yeah, we will cover Express.js in tomorrow or day after tomorrow's class. Okay, so in order to do that, oh sorry, so we have the applications with it. Sorry, we have the application whenever we search on Play Store or App Store, and we find the packages. In a similar way, we can search for the keywords which we are looking for, and we can see by looking at number of downloads, we can install that package in it. So now let's say if I want to install this sharp package in order to use it, what I'll do, I'll simply click on this and I go over here. I'll write npm I install. Basically I'm saying install this package name was sharp, and it will install the package over here. Okay, just a second. See, after doing that package, after I have installed that package, okay, after you have installed that package, you can see that that package is visible over here. Okay, with the number. What is this number? Number refers to the sorry. This number refers to the version number of that project. Okay. Now, you can also see there are two more files: package.json and node modules. Don't get confused with package.json. It's you can ignore it for now. We'll discuss this later, but for now, just think about package.json. It also includes the dependencies of this project. What is this dependencies? What is this dependencies? Basically, all the external packages which I need to use my application. Once you do that, you can see a node module folder is also installed. And in this node modules, you can see the other many packages which are used over here. Okay, you can even ignore this for now. But yeah, you can think about it like these are all the files required to in this node modules. Uh, it has all the files which are required to run this project. Okay, so this is how the package looks like. Okay, but now what is this package? What is this module? Like, what is this? Like, it's very confusing, right? So we'll discuss that first. So we have created our package.json file in which all the dependencies, which means external modules, external packages are there. Okay, and also scripts. Scripts are uh, these scripts. Okay, all these are covered in this. Hence, we can use the scripts, like all basic details of the project are covered in this package.json. Okay, now once you have done that, we have created the index.js file, and we have used the HTTP module to create a simple server on a specified port. Okay, now we have also covered the npm packages which we can download from here. Okay, you can look for any packages as per your requirement and you can install it in your system. Okay, now let's say you have a problem. Uh, let's say you want to debug your application. Okay, so what we do is can we debug it? So let's say if I say let is logged in equals to false. I'm just keeping a variable is logged in. as false. I want if is logged in equals to true, console log you are just a second logged in, else I'll say you are not logged in. Okay, now how do I know what is the value of is logged in or not? We can use the console log in order to debug our application. Okay, now if I write npm, sorry, if I write npm start, okay, what should be my output? Can anyone help? What should be the output over here? Any guesses? Yeah, right. So the output will be you are not logged in. Why? Because it will check if is logged in is true, then console log you are logged in. Otherwise, it will say you're not logged in. Okay. So if I do npm start, it says you are not logged in. But if I change it to you are true, now is logged in is true. Hence, it will show that you are logged in. Okay. So this is how you can use this to check login or logout. Okay, so this is how you debug your code in case you are stuck somewhere. So this is a very basic example, but you might encounter some more complex situation when you are developing the application. Okay. Okay. Now let's understand how you get node modules. So the reason I got node modules was I installed this sharp package. Okay. Let's say if I uninstall this package, so all the sharp, basically what the sharp package does, it basically converts my JPEG to a PNG. Okay, so all the code required to achieve this are stored in Node modules. Okay, but let's say if I uninstall it, what will happen? Npm to uninstall it, you write npm uninstall the package name, which is sharp. Okay, it says remove 9 packages and audit this. Okay, and if I see all the packages have been removed. Okay, so this is .bin is like a um, trash can for node modules. Okay, you can see these folders are all empty now. Earlier it had some code, now it does not. Okay, so hence I have removed this node module. Basically all the code of sharp, let's say if I again install it, all the code of sharp, see I have installed it. Now all the code are pasted here. Okay, so someone has written the code and it is coming over here. Okay, what is the different constant let? So, Tushar, this different constant let difference, it's covered in JavaScript. Okay, so let's right now focus on Node.js and we'll see about it. Response dot end. So this using this response on end, I can send a response back to the user. So if I again go back to this, I say, oh sorry, I have to start my code. If I do this, see, I'm getting the using this response.end, I'm able to send the hello world back to the user. Okay. Yeah, Bandu, just install some packages and you will find install some external package, and you will find that node modules folder over there. Good, Aman. Okay, hello world. Coming back to this, yeah. So, what are modules? Basically, modules are reusable blocks of code, okay, that encapsulate the functionality. What do I mean by this? Basically, a module is a independent code which I can use to perform a specific use case. So, for example, if I talk about this sharp package over here, this is an independent module. Okay, like I do not need any other thing else, and using this sharp module, I am able to run the uh, I'm able to use this in my project. Hence, this sharp is the module. Okay, so hence I can reuse this package according to my need. Okay, so this is a basic level module. And there with JavaScript or with Node.js, we have many inbuilt modules like HTTP. I showed you this module HTTP. There's another OS module, path module, FS module. Okay, I'll cover all those things, but this is the basic idea of modules. Okay, so how can we create our own modules? Just a second. Just a second. Yeah. So in order to create a module, what we do, we can simply go we can simply create a module. Okay, so let's say I'll clear this all. Delete. I'll just keep this and mm-mm-mm. Let's say I have a module called uh, I'll create a new file called math.js. Okay, and in this I have different functions like function addition, okay, which takes two numbers and returns the sum of it. Okay, another function called subtraction, which takes two numbers and returns a subtraction of two numbers. Okay, let's say okay, let's take two more functions, multiplication a into b and function division, which is a comma b. Okay, now I have created four functions, okay, which are these. Just a second. Which are these functions. Okay, now what if I want to use this math.js, these functions in my index.js file? How can we do that? Any idea? Hmm. I have this GitHub Copilot, which helps me give me the suggestions while I'm coding. Okay. Yeah, I'll use the import statement. But if I use the import statement, let's say if I say import, no, actually I won't use the import statement over here. Yeah, yeah, Sridharni. We use the require. Okay, now what has happened is basically I have created four files where I have mentioned these functions. Okay. Now, if I want to export this function to a different file, what we do is we basically write uh, first, let's export this function. I'm saying that these are all these four functions are, yeah, I'm using GitHub Copilot for the suggestion of the code. So what I'll do is I'll export these four functions, which is module.exports. I'll say addition, subtraction as subtraction, multiplication as subtraction, division as division. Basically, I have created the object which is model.exports, and it will export all the four functions by the name of addition. Now, if I want to import these functions in my file, what I will do is I'll simply say uh, const, let's say math, math equals to require dot math. Okay, so why dot I have written dot slash? Because it's the in the same directory. If it has been in another directory, then I would have used dot double dot slash or the standard um, directory code basically. Okay, now I've imported the math function, and what I will do is I'll simply say let's say I want to add two numbers. What I'll do, I'll say console log, I'll say math dot add, I'll addition, sorry, 1 comma, so or I'll say 17 comma 23. Okay, let's see if it works or not. I'll say npm start, hence I'm getting 40, which is the sum of two numbers. Okay, which is 17 and 23. So what has happened? Basically, I created the four functions and I exported it in a object manner. Okay, I can even export the variables. So let's say if I say const pi equals to 22 upon 7. Okay, and I say pi as pi, and if I want to use pi over here, if I can say so log pi is math dot pi. Okay, so if I do this, if I npm start, yeah, npm start, see I'm getting pi as 3.1423 blah blah, which is 22 upon 7. I can export the variables like this from one file to another file. I'll basically export module.export and import it in this manner by giving the file name. But sometimes there's a better way of writing this, which is it makes it very untidy, right? I have to write math.addition or this. There's a cleaner way to do this, which is instead of writing math, I'll simply do the destructuring over here. I won't go in depth of what destructuring is, but I can simply say that I can write addition. Whatever I'm exporting over here, all the names I can use it over here. Let's say I'm using addition and pi over here. So I can simply say I write addition and pi, and it should give me the same result, which is this. Okay. So basically I have exported these functions from here and imported it over here. Okay, so this is what the module, this basically you have created your own inbuilt module like this. ES6 module JS, it's a similar thing. We'll cover that later, but yeah, it's more or less the same thing. Okay, so this is what the in we have created a custom module over here. But what if we want to use the inbuilt module? Okay, so Node.js give us many inbuilt modules. So we'll cover few of them. Okay, so like mm, let's say I want to use. Okay, so there's one module called OS module. Okay, OS module. What this module does is basically it gives us the operating system, OS, basically OS level functions in our module. Change his name. Yeah, we can change the name. Okay, so let's say I can even say instead of writing this, I can say I don't want to call the addition function like this. I want to call it like this. Okay, then doing this, I can simply write add here and like this. So it will work the same way. Okay, basically I'm saying the addition function, which is this function, should be called by add name. Hence, I can use this over here. Okay. Okay. Now, coming back to this, so we have multiple inbuilt modules like OS module. So what this OS module does is it gives us the basic information of our operating system. Okay. So there are multiple functions which this give us, but we'll cover few of them. So in order to import the module, it's the same way we have you imported the HTTP module, which is const OS equals to require OS. Okay, so I have basically declared the OS model and called it in the OS variable. Okay, and now let's say if I want to know the platform of my module or platform which operating system I'm using, so I can say console log OS. It has a function called platform. Okay, so this will give me the platform which I'm using. So if I click on npm start, see, it's giving me Darwin. I'm using the Mac OS, and Mac OS is based on Darwin, hence it is giving me this. If I want to know the architecture, I can get that using this, which is ARM64. So I'm using the M3 laptop, so hence it's based on ARM based processor, hence it's giving me that. So you can go through this function by just going on npm node OS module. If you search this, you will find this over here, all the functions which this OS model gave us. I have used the architecture. You can even get the CPUs. Okay, if I copy, I'll share this link with you. You can try running these functions by yourself. Okay, so this comes by experience. Okay, so how to in order to use which model to use, it comes by experience. The more you work on it, the more you will know. Okay, for this I should use this module. For this I should use that module. It all comes with experience. Okay. Okay, coming back to this, there's another module called path module. Okay, so this module is path. What this path module gives us is it gives us the current working directory. That is, let's say, uh, I want to know the current directory of my code. So I can say console log. I'll say underscore direct name. Okay, it's the directory name. And let's say I want to know the path of this. So I can say, wait, I'll do one thing. Actually, no, you can, this will confuse you. So by underscore directory name, you get the current directory name. Okay, if I click on npm start, see, this is the current directory name. Now, let's say if I want to join the directory name with the some specific file, let's say I want to call the mat.js. So what I can do is, if I write plus mat.js, I can use this path folder to join the link. Like it's just one of the way to do this. It's not necessary you have to go with this, but it helps us create the directory names. Also, I forgot to write slash. Okay. Mm, it gives the current directory name. Like, it's not used a lot. It's generally used whenever we are calling some specific image in our file or something. Otherwise, it's of no use. It's usually we don't use it a lot. It takes some time to get the link from my computer to the chat. Okay. Similarly, there is another module called FS module. FS is a very important module. We use it a lot. FS module. So what is this FS module? This is the file system module. What it does is basically it help us to it help us change the specific files, or basically we want to read a file or write a file. It can be done using the FS module. What do I mean by FS, this read and write file? Basically, so first, in order to import this file, we'll use the general line, which is const fs equals to require fs. Okay, so I have imported this fs module. Now fs module has two main functions, which is fs dot write file and read file. Okay, so if I click on write file, so now let's say if I want to write a file, let's say if I want to create example dot, let's say I create a file called example dot txt. Okay, and maybe I want to message, let's say I want to add a message which is hi, I, I am a message from Node.js, and I can say I have learned this and let's upgrade. Okay, now I want to in example dot, I want to create example.txt file where this message should get displayed. Okay, how can I achieve this? I can say that fs.read file, the message, and third argument it takes is a callback function, which is if there is any error achieving this, it will throw an error. Okay, so I can say console log error in case there is any error. So what it will do, it will create an example.txt file and add this message into that file. Okay, let's try it out. Let's say if I click on npm start, since I console log error and there was no error achieving this, hence it gave me a null. Okay, and if I go on example.txt, see, the message which I had tried to write has came over here. Yeah, we also have read file sync, read line sync in this fs module only. Okay, so we use that for asynchronous reading file. It's like, don't get into it, it will confuse you for now. Okay, now let's say if I want to say, now if I write hello again, what will happen? Will it override? Will it throw an error? FS stands for file system. Okay, let's see. Once you again write this, let's see what happens. I'm again getting null, but now this time it has overwritten that file. See, hello again, and I learned this from in LetsUpgrade. Okay, so this is what the write file does. But now what if I want to read the file? Okay, I have displayed the data over here. Now I want to know what data is there in this in this example.txt. So the fs gave us another function called write file. Okay, it takes the first argument as the name of the file. So since I want to get the example.txt, hence I'll write example.txt. Oh my, Instead of read file, I write write file. Okay, I want to write this, and the second argument it will give is a callback function. What is this callback function? Basically, if there is any error reading the file, it will throw an error. Hence, otherwise it will give me the data. So I will say there's an error and data, and I'll say if any error exists, I'll simply say console log error. I'll also write error reading file, and then I'll display the error. Okay. Otherwise, I'll say just give me the data from this example.txt file. Okay. Now if I try this, see, I'm getting a buffer. Why am I getting a buffer? Okay, I have to specify the type of this file, which is UTF. Wait, just a second. I'll clear this out first. Okay, UTF-8. Why am I writing UTF-8 over here? I'll tell you. Just a second. Let me try it. See, yeah. So there's a possibility that you might not get any error over here. Why? Because uh, the file system on a computer are the file system is there in a specific manner, which is UTF-8, or on Windows it can be a different format as well. Okay, so hence we need to, sometimes you can ignore it, but sometimes you have to mention the format in which you can read the file from this file. That is why I'm getting this buffer code. By writing the UTF-8, I'm specifying that uh, this is a UTF-8 format, so it will convert my buffer into the text file. Okay, it's not like you don't have to remember this. It's just just write it. Okay, it's not very important. And now what is happening? If there is any error, it will display the error. Otherwise, it will display the data. What if I want to see the error? What I'll do, I'll simply clear this, delete this. Okay, and if I run it again, see, I'm getting error reading the file. No such file or directory of example.txt. I'm getting this error because there's no file to read. Then how will I get the error now? How will I get the data now? So, but once I make a file, let's say if I create a new file, example.txt, I write let's upgrade. If I run it again, see, I'm getting let's upgrade now because I have written that in example.txt. Okay. Yeah, you should learn JavaScript first. See, Node.js is based on JavaScript. So you should learn the JavaScript before you go with Node.js. Okay, so Node.js is like a second thing after you have learned the JavaScript. Okay, so this is the modules this is the module section in Node.js. And any question, any doubts in today's class? We have boarded the modules. We have used the inbuilt modules. We have used system modules overview. We have read the files. We have written the files. We did the header handling. Okay, so this was all for today. Any question? Okay, you can also go to this site. Wait, I'll share a FS module with you. You can refer to the more functions which it has. It has many functions. Okay, so you can refer these functions if you want to use them. I'll share that with you on the chat. Okay. See, I tried that. No, if the file does not exist, it will throw an error. As you can see, I have showed it here that error reading the file. Hence, the file does not exist. There are unlimited number of modules. See, latest modules do support ES6, but prior modules may or may not exist in ES6. No, you have to write npm install sharp. Pandu. You did npm sharp, you have to write npm space install space sharp. Yeah, you can create the file using this write file. Yeah, you can create the file if it does not exist. If it already exists, then it will just export, it will just change the data of the file. Let's update team will talk about the attendance form. Okay. No, server side code will always remain with you on the backend on the server until unless it does not get hacked. Two different servers. Yes, you can do it on n number of servers. It's up to you. So node modules contains all the packages, all the packages you have installed, all the modules you have installed from npm js.com. Oh, that's good. Yes. Thank you. Nice to meet you. This is a small project from YouTube. You can go with any project, whichever has the highest number of views. You can go with that. Yeah, just don't go into that file. It's okay if you don't understand them. I'll share the notes with the Let's Upgrade team, and they will share it with you. Once you complete all the 5 days, you will get the certificate. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow in next session. Have a great night. Bye.